There are obstacles every single day, but the craziest part is it really is kind of like a video game where you pass one level, you go in the next one, it seems familiar, and then the obstacles coming your way are bigger, they're faster, they're meaner, they're more aggressive. And they're gonna take everything you learned in the previous couple levels, and they're gonna put you to the test nonstop every single day, all day. All right, Chapter 5 of Undressed, the limited series podcast where we discuss the book, some ideas from the book, walk through the field guide, talk about the lessons a little bit in greater detail. And so really what Chapter 5 came down to was scaling and dealing with new obstacles that had never been encountered before, and trying to withstand and live through the obstacles without completely and emotionally breaking. And so when you're building something of substance, there are obstacles every single day. But the craziest part is it really is kind of like a video game where you pass one level, you go in the next one, it seems familiar, and then the obstacles coming your way are bigger, they're faster, they're meaner, they're more aggressive, and they're going to take everything you learned in the previous couple levels, and they're going to put you to the test nonstop every single day, all day. And so Chapter 5 is really about this pursuit of delivering quality at the highest level, trying to meet retailer demand, trying to lead teams when you're trying to figure everything else out yourself, but then also just having common sense and trusting your gut. I mean, that's always an underlying theme, but in Chapter 5, it's a little bit more prevalent. And so if you go to the field guide, one of the first things that's there is what you need to know. There is no trivial comment for the CEO or leader. Well, what does that mean? What does there is no trivial comment for the CEO leader? It means that you're always being observed, you're always on, and everybody is always analyzing everything you're doing to reinforce their belief system in not only the brand, but you. And so if you have a bad day and you start flipping out and saying random shit about people or services or retailers or whatever, you may think it's nothing because you're just having a normal emotional outburst. That actually has a very negative effect on your team, and you don't actually understand yet how, because you're in the beginning stages of this journey and you're a new CEO or leader. So someone once told me there's no trivial comment for a leader, and I didn't really understand what that meant until I did. And then you realize how lonely it can be at the top and how much you must prepare every single day to be on from the moment you are in front of your team until you leave. Keep that in mind. What you need to know: disarm everyone with kindness. My dad always used to say, you'll catch more bees with honey than vinegar. Now, I was a very competitive lacrosse player and I played defense. And so really my job was just to be very, very aggressive. And that is my natural inclination. When you're trying to build something or do something that you've never done and you have no information and everything that you're doing is figuring it out for yourself, you're going to need other people's help. And you're going to need other people to take a chance on you, other people to go outside of their normal operating procedures to help you, to maybe bend some of the rules and take into account your own ignorance. That will be much easier if you're a nice person. And so I used to start every conversation off when I needed something with, I don't know shit about shit. My life is on the line and I really, really need your help. And I'll do pretty much anything for it. That would disarm people with me being honest. And then I would be overly kind even if they cuss me out. Because you don't, maybe I would need to circle back with them in a week or a month or a year. Taking that approach and not being a dick is going to be very helpful as you're trying to build out your dream, follow your dream, and accomplish kind of the impossible. What you need to know: action creates more action. I believe this with every ounce of my soul. I believe action creates more action. I believe that action turns into momentum. And then I believe momentum turns into a life force. And then I believe a life force cannot be stopped. You can't get to a life force without initially taking action. And what happens in the beginning of any journey is you know nothing. You don't know where to go. You don't know what direction to basically embark out into the wild. You're looking for stars. You're looking at your compass. You know nothing. But you must take that first step. And that famous quote, "A journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step," it is 100% correct. But you got to take the first step, and then you got to take the second and the third and the fourth, and you have to keep moving. And what you're going to find is you may be actually going in the wrong direction. But taking action will let you know if you're going in the wrong direction. You can't sit there and think about it. You must take action, because that action is going to create more action. And what you're doing in the beginning of this journey is you're trying to figure out how the hell you're going to take this little idea that nobody believes in and turn it into something of substance that everybody wants to participate in. That can only happen with forward movement. That forward movement must come from that first initial action. And if you do that every single day, and there is no trivial comment, and you're kind, and you're always moving forward, and action's creating more action, you will end up creating this unbelievable life force. And this little idea, or this little brand, or this little dream is going to end up coming to fruition. And it's all going to be because you were brave enough to take that first step. The greatest visual that I've ever been told was this concept of trying to break a giant stone. And the first whack with a sledgehammer, nothing happens. 100 whacks, nothing happens. You think you're not making any progress at all. And by the 200th whack, or whatever it is, this stone is split in half. And you had no symbol, no sign. There were no pats on the back. You're just whacking on this freaking rock. I thought for me, that was such an important visual during my journey, because I'm like on whack 199 and my fucking hands are bleeding and everyone's looking at me like I'm crazy. I have nothing to show for it. And you want to give up. And something inside of you just keeps saying, one more. Just one more. Just one more. And then the rock breaks finally. And you go, holy shit, man. All right. So now it's going to take 200 whacks every time. And the next one, no. The next one's going to take 400. And same thing. You're sweating. You're sore. Everyone's looking at you. They're looking at you like you're a crazy person. And you're just whacking on this giant rock. But then it breaks again when you least expect it, because you're telling yourself, one more. one more, one more. So that, I think, is a great visual to keep in the back of your head on your journey. I think the other part that was really helpful for me was how I laid out my goals. That process of working backwards from my 10-year goal, 9-year goal, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 11-month goal, 10-month goal, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 3-week goal, 2-week goal, 1-week goal, 6-day goal, 5, 4, 3, 2, and then breaking it down to, here is my goal this hour. And if I can do that 1-hour goal, and I can get closer to that 1-day goal, I can get closer to my 2-day goal, I can get closer to my 1-week goal. If I can accomplish that 1-week goal, I know I can get closer to my 1-month goal. Having that made up timeline and that made up metric system and that made up reward system for myself really allowed me to know, as I'm banging on this rock, okay, that was whack 199. I know I got to get to 200. And if it doesn't happen at 200, it's probably going to happen at 300. And so I just kept putting in place these little breadcrumbs that I could take to know that I was on track. And it's similar. I remember I did a run test in college for tryouts for lacrosse, and I was dying. I had never run 5 miles before. And all I did was I just set these little goals in front of me. I'm going to keep running as hard as I can to that stop sign. I'd get to the stop sign. I'm going to run as hard as I can to the end of this block. I would do it. I'm going to run as hard as I can to the end of this street. I would do it. And I would just keep reframing my goals so that I could keep my attention on little things that I could win and that I could control. And then in reality, so that I could manipulate my own mind so I didn't quit. Because you can only grind so hard without even a single omen or a God wink that goes, hey, buddy, I see you. I see you grinding a little bit. And so I think the biggest thing for me along that journey was how I organized my day. Most important goal, critical and urgent, in priority, beneficial and important, in priority, timeline. They all had their own little spot. And I knew every day if I checked off the critical and urgent bucket, that most important goal for the year was within reach if I did that properly. And sometimes I did it in 3 months. Sometimes it took 2 years. But I knew I had forward momentum and I had a progression towards something. Action was happening. And I think that that's the most important, because if you don't have those little metrics or breadcrumbs to make sure you're still just looking at your compass and going, all right, I'm at least going kind of in the right direction. I'm going north. I'm not going south. That's all you really need. So that is chapter 5. It's shorter than some of the other ones because it's very potent. It's kind of a start and a finish of that phase of the journey. But we will be coming back to you with chapter 6 soon. Thank you for tuning in. I'm Greg Vetter. This is the Undressed Limited Series podcast on my book.